Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to our Zoom session this evening. I'm just going to give a few minutes for people to join because we have about 50 or 55 people signed up for today, so fantastic number. Thank you so much for taking the time from your evening to join the presentation, and I hope you will enjoy it. So I'll just give a couple more minutes for people to join. I can see some familiar names here. Jacqueline Jeans, hello. Peter Rowlands, hello. Dave Greener, hi there. I hope you're all well. Super. Okay, right. We're doing this Zoom presentation tonight. We're going to transport you to Indonesia. We're so very excited that Indonesia is finally open again. It's just one of those destinations, isn't it, that for divers it's so iconic. And as soon as the news came through that Indonesia was open, immediately we had inquiries and we had people that have been waiting 2 years to go and to experience the diving. Yeah, we're very excited as all us divers that the country's now open again. We're here to talk about a specific trip with underwater photographer Saeed Rashid that we're running to Bunaken and Manado, departing on the 24th of June. So I'll introduce you to Saeed, who's with us. Good evening, Saeed.
Hi Phil. Hello everybody. It's good to see, well, not see you, but to see a list of names at least.
There.
Yeah, to know you're there. It's quite good they can't talk back to me. I quite like that.
Oh, they can get you on the chat. Don't worry. And we also are very lucky to have Ben Surinder with us as well. Ben is the dive manager at Dive into Lembeh Resorts. One of the resorts that Saeed will be visiting. We didn't know that we had Ben on the call until a few minutes ago, actually, because it's the middle of the night, obviously in Indonesia. So we're very grateful that you have woken up, Ben, and you can join us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I understand also you're very busy because the resort has its first guests on Friday, so you have your formal opening. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, super. So you've been very busy getting everything ready.
Everything's
again.
Ready. Yeah.
How's the resort looking?
Oh yeah, it's getting ready, and everybody are busy. I know boat is ready.
Yeah.
The boat is ready, and it has been painted. And then also the rooms are also painted as well, and some of the lights at the restaurant is that changes.
Perfect.
So yeah, we are excited to welcome everyone to Lembeh again.
Yes, as we all are. It's fantastic news. Okay, I'll just tell everybody a little bit about what we're going to do for the next 45 minutes or so. I will first give a quick introduction. I've got a couple of videos to show you just to set the scene, and then I will hand over to Saeed, who will give a presentation on some of the underwater photography subjects and the two different areas we'll be visiting on this trip. I'll then give you a little bit more information just on the resorts we'll be visiting, just so you get a bit more of a flavour of those. And then we will open up for questions from everybody. You'll see there's a Q&A on your Zoom if yours looks like mine, then it's on the bottom. So feel free to ask any questions that you like on that Q&A anytime during the event, and we will try at the end to answer as many questions as possible. Okay, so that's the plan. So without further ado, I will share my screen and we will get you in the mood, take you away from your living rooms and get you in the mood with a couple of videos. Saeed, can you see my screen?
I
that
can.
working?
That is working.
Excellent.
Well done.
That's a good start.
Well done.
It? Excellent.
I'm proud of you.
Okay, now we see if we've got the sound. So this is just a little video from Tasik Divers in Bunaken, just to get you in the right place. Alrighty, doesn't that look like a lovely place to be? So Ben, we didn't know that that you were joining us today, so we've actually got you on video as well. So that was a flavour of Bunaken, just to get you in the mood. We've just got a few clips and a little message from Ben on Lembe.
Hello, my name is Ben Sarinda. I'm guest and relation manager, and also I'm photo pro at Bunaken Lembe. I'm looking forward to welcome you in this summer for Saeed Rashid Muck and Magic trip to Lembe Strait.
Alrighty, so that hopefully gives you a flavour of what to expect. I love that video. Lembe is just one of my favourite places in the world with all those crazy critters. I could watch that over and over again. So hopefully that's put you in the mood then. At this point then, Saeed, I'll hand over to you to do a better job than me of sharing your screen and talk us through some of the subjects and some of the photographs and skills and so on and so forth that people will be experiencing on this trip.
Fantastic, thank you. Almost forgot your name then, Phil.
That's okay.
Oh, it's been one of those days. I've actually had to work for a living. Okay, right. Hello, everybody. Let me just share my screen quickly. Make sure I share the right screen this time. Yes, that screen. And let's play this. So I welcome questions as we go along. They'll pop in if you go to the Q&A at the bottom of the screen and just ask a question there. They'll pop up, and then Phil can interrupt me at the time, or we can wait till the end. So please feel free to ask any questions you like. So this trip has been 3 years in the making. I can't believe we're going back to Indonesia. It's been so long. I was actually in this area in northern Sulawesi as the pandemic struck. So I came back to the UK from Manado the end of January 2020. And yeah, when my partner phoning me up and saying, there's some weird virus. Anyway, let's get on with this. So where is it? So some of you, hopefully all of you know where we're going. But Indonesia is this kind of big stretch down here. In fact, Sulawesi is this massive island down the bottom here. So it's huge. Ben, have you ever driven down to the south?
Sorry, say again. I can't hear you.
That's right. Have you ever driven all the way down to the south?
Oh, to the south, yes.
Yeah, it's a long, long way. So it's a very, very big island. Okay, and in fact, we're going to this part up here. Okay, if we zoom into this and we have a look, where is there a bar across? Phil, can you see a bar over there?
I can see an arrow.
No, that's fine then. It's all right. I've got an annoying bar from Zoom right in the middle of my screen. I wanted to make sure it's not going to everybody else. So this is a 2-center trip, which is fantastic. We're going to be spending a week over on the west side and then a week over here on the east side. So it's absolutely brilliant. You get to experience both parts of it. So first I'm going to talk about, and they're very, very different from each other, which makes this wonderful. I'm going to talk about our stay first at Tasik Ria. So Tasik Ria is a very long established resort. It's quite big. This is its own jetty here. In fact, actually, if you see at the end of the jetty there, that little square building, that's the bar. Where we'll spend most evenings in there looking at pictures, drinking bintang, and having fun. As you can see, you've got a resort. The resort is here. It's got probably one of the biggest and best swimming pools, if you want to use it, in the whole area. So that's the resort. But what you want to know is about the diving, isn't it? Okay, so the diving itself is very different from one side to the other. So the diving here around Bunaken and Manado is very much blue water. Okay, the water is exceptionally clear. It'll be quite warm. It should be, Ben can correct me if I'm wrong, about 27 degrees over this side, hopefully. And here are all of the kind of dive sites we could possibly go to. So you can see at the bottom down here with the big red dot, that's where Tasik is. And we can dive all of these sites. What we generally do is get the boat in the morning over to the Bunaken Islands, and we'll tend to do a couple dives around those islands, and it's generally wall diving. As I said, very, very clear and really, really kind of beautiful. Some of the best fans I've ever seen. And then on the way back, there is a possibility to do a third dive if we want to. And we tend to do those along the coast or even closer to the resort itself. And that dive is a much more of a mucky muck diving site. And I'll talk about muck diving. I see there's a question come in about muck diving. I'll talk about that in a moment with you. But there are also some blue water sites further on as well, and I'll talk about that as we go on. Oh, we don't need that. So here are the islands of Bunaken. So this is a shot that I took on my last trip. You can see this is kind of the main inhabited area here. And this actually shows most of the dive sites that we can go to. And you see all the different islands here. This volcano over here, Manado, is probably one of the most iconic kind of mountains or volcano ranges in the area. Some amazing sunsets and cloud formations over the top of that. But we don't care about that. We care about the diving, don't we? So as I said to you, the diving here is mainly wall diving. And the fans there are just pristine, okay? Fans of all sizes, fans of all colors even. And what's really nice about this, I'm just gonna close, can I close that down? No, I can't. Is we get to spend time looking at these fans and appreciating for what they are. The beauty about these trips, whether you're a photographer or not, is we go slow. We go really, really slow. You're not being forced to follow a guide at a fast pace. So whether you're a photographer or not, you will definitely enjoy this. One of my fondest memories is seeing all the red tooth triggers, and they come in absolute clouds just off the walls. And amongst all of those are the turtles. Bunaken is absolutely famous for the green turtles, and they are huge. Some of the biggest green turtles I've ever seen. You see one, then you see another, and they're often kind of tucked into the coral, maybe sleeping, maybe one's sleeping with another one comes on, and another one sleeping in around the next corner. There are turtles literally everywhere, speeding past you underneath. Don't forget to look up because there's turtles above you. Quite often swimming in the blue. Did I say that there's turtles here? There's quite a lot of turtles. I think we kind of had a competition last time I went there, see how many turtles that you can see. And we kind of gave up counting at about 34 on one dive. There really are that many, and I'm sure Ben's seen more than that on a single dive, but it's mainly hawksbill and green turtles. I think other turtles are spotted, but not so often. This is also my partner, who also does dive, but she snorkels more than anything else, her all-time favorite snorkeling site. She says it's incredible. You can snorkel above the coral shelf with a kind of drop off to your right or left-hand side and see more than us divers tend to see. Because we tend to scare maybe some of the turtles up. They'll come up, breathe next to her and swim down. So even if you're not a diver, snorkeling is awesome for this. But there are other things on these walls. We have giant frogfish sitting there. We have ornate ghost pipefish sitting around. So it's not all about the big stuff. But if you are a photographer, these are the sites that you really want to put your wide angle lens on to kind of really appreciate them for what they are. Yeah, there are sharks. There's little caves and little hangovers there that you can kind of see white-tip sharks. Other sharks are spotted, so grey reef sharks are often spotted. I don't know if it's the right time of year, but orca have often been spotted around these islands. I'll ask Ben in a moment what time of year it is, but it's not like it's just a one-off. They're spotted quite often. I don't think in the water, but I think on the boat rides you often see them. Dolphins, of course, that's a given. But as well as the Bunaken Islands up to the north, Bunaken National Park actually extends down to the south as well. So much closer to Tasik Ria is this beautiful site, and I forget the name of the site top of my head, but we spent a long time down here, literally mooring the boat up and almost having an open deck policy where we could just jump in, explore, come up, change cylinders if we wanted to, and jump in again. It's a fantastic way to explore the reefs. And as I said, they're much shallower. It's not really a wall, it's not really a drop off. So it makes it much safer for you to kind of do that kind of diving. And if you are a photographer, it's great to poke around all the little holes and find out little creatures, especially these guys. I love these guys. These catfish. If you haven't seen them, they kind of move around the seabed, almost like mercury. And I've spent many hours photographing those. Even the mooring lines attract things as well. So you can spend time at 3 or 4 meters just poking around, photographing or just watching the marine life. The other thing down here, which I've always loved, is the watching the cleaning stations. So you find a cleaning station and you just sit there and you wait. The sea life gets used to you, and it kind of comes in because they want to be cleaned. And here we've got this Moorish idol that's being cleaned by this cleaner wrasse. And as a photographer, it's brilliant. As a non-photographer, you're seeing interactions, you're seeing behavior going on. It's a really nice way to interact with the sea life. But at the end of the day, Tasik has some of the best, I don't know how it does it, at all, but it has some of the best sunsets I've ever seen within the area. And the beautiful thing about it is you can see on the right-hand side there's the bar right there. You can have your bintang and watch the sunset. Yes, I do know that picture is out of focus. So yeah. Before you say anything, Ben,
Too many bintangs when you took it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And the other thing I just want to add is once you finish your kind of day's diving, Tasik Ria has an incredible spa. Here's me in the spa having a milk bath. I bet you wanted to see that, didn't you? So yeah, they have an amazing spa there. So it's definitely worthwhile booking up your time in there. Get in early. I'll take all the slots, by the way. So just make sure you get that. I won't really. I'll be there helping you guys. So that's one side. So that's all the kind of blue water wall diving that we're going to do. Lembe is a completely different kettle of fish, okay? It's a slightly more relaxed diving because the resort, as you can see, here's diving to Lembe where this boat is moored up. You can see it has a house reef there. You can literally walk in from the resort into the house reef and just do a dive there. And it's a lot more kind of relaxed diving. We'll be coming back to the resort between dives as well. But it's in a different area. So here's a big panoramic picture of Lembe Strait itself. On the left-hand side, this is kind of the town here, where it's kind of a bit busier. And you can see diving to Lembe is near the mouth of the strait, which means the water up this end is generally a bit cleaner and a bit fresher. And you'll notice that if you go, the diving over here to the left-hand side is a bit darker and a bit muckier. And I saw a question come in, what is muck diving? Well, muck diving is about, maybe we'll get Ben answering this in a moment as well. It's about diving in and the whole area is a bit dirtier. Is dirtier the word? Darker. I'm going to say darker. There's a lot more sediment in the water. There's a lot more, there's old bottles in there. There's old bits of rubbish in there. It's about poking around in this and seeing the creatures. Sounds awful. You know, you're saying you're making me want to dive in a rubbish tip. It's not. Have a look at the creatures in a second. So the diving, of course, you're going to see these guys. You'll see these guys everywhere. But when I visited diving to Lembe for the first time, I've been to Lembe many times, but not the resort. I went for a morning dive and literally, as soon as I jumped in, the first thing I saw off the beach was this guy. It's just sitting there, just literally in the black sand. So muck diving is very famous for, most often it's black sand you're diving in. So you can see things really jump out and stand out for you. So within seconds, hairy frogfish, quite a rare critter in most places, but not in Lembe. You see them all the time. Okay, and you can see him here, this guy shouting here amongst this soft coral. And there's a little bit of current, you can see that. You can see his hairs, which is just a modified skin, kind of fluttering in the wind, shall we say. And then we see more frogfish. So this is also a hairy frogfish, but he's not so hairy. And then we see another frogfish. And then we see smaller frogfish. Look at the size of that guy. So this was a guest of mine. This is her little finger. You can see how small he is. And these guys do jump out at you because they're, I don't mean jump out, I don't mean, but I mean, you know, they stand out from the background because they're bright orange. They're these real bright colors. So they're not necessarily difficult to spot. When you first jump in, everything will look a bit dark and a bit weird to you. But as soon as you get your eye in, you can see these things everywhere. And the beauty is we've got the guides. Okay, we've got some awesome guides there that go around pointing all these things out for you so you can see them all. In fact, there are so many frogfish in Lembe. I remember going many years ago, going to Taba and being really excited that I saw my very first frogfish. And then a couple of years later, I went to Lembe for the first time and realized frogfish aren't that rare there. They're absolutely everywhere. And they're really cool to see, all different kinds, all different types. Here's a wider shot so you can actually see what the water is kind of like in Lembe. So the kind of more mucky sites are kind of like this, okay? It's got this kind of dark sand. But there are areas of colour as well. So you do have crinoids, you do have where the resort is. I said it's cleaner water, it's bluer water. So you do have sites with colour and with coral as well. Quite often we'll be asking you, do you want to do a mucky site or do you want to do a corally site? Okay, and we can kind of, you know, change it every day, different sites we're going to do. But every time you dive in, dive down, there's something new there. There's something different. There's, you know, if you are a photographer, the time and you can spend on a single subject in very much shallow water. We're talking water no deeper than probably 20 meters here. And most of the time we'll be spending around 10 meters, I would have thought, or less. That's for me is like the beauty, you know, that's the best place to be. You can really spend time watching these subjects or even photographing them. So here I am. This is probably the saddleback anemone fish. If these guys were the size of a dog, you would never get in the water. Never, ever. If anyone has ever experienced these guys, I've never seen such violent fish in all of my life. They were, you know, the stories of Titan triggerfish? No, these guys. You know, these guys, they will come after you for meters and meters and meters. So you have to be very, very careful with them. I'm sure Ben has some scars on his hands from photographing them. So you see, it's not just about the macro. We've got, you know, lots of wide shots as well as lots of wide shots to be able to be had here. And here you can see a coconut octopus in what is probably a beer bottle. Okay, poking his head out of that beer bottle with his little shell ready to close that off. Just watching the marine life is an absolute joy. If you haven't seen what a coconut octopus is before, when we finish this chat, just go onto YouTube and type coconut octopus. There's some hilarious videos of them picking up their shells and walking away. I think Blue Planet had a very famous scene with coconut octopus filmed in Lembe. In fact, actually, that's a good point. Most of the big film crews and documentary programs come to Lembe, and I think actually Dive into Lembe has got some film crews coming soon there. So they all come there to do this because the wildlife is so diverse. But we've got everything there. We've got seahorses of all types, all shapes, even speedy seahorses. And I'll talk to you about these bottles. We've got little things living in the bottles. So here we've got a discarded Coke bottle here, and we've got these little lemon gobies just poking their heads out of that bottle. And it is literally, you see a bottle, you look in it, you see these guys. They literally live in every single bottle there, and you will see quite a few bottles discarded. It's not just those that live in bottles. As I said, here's that coconut octopus again, peering out as I swim by to see who the hell is annoying him from his sleep. Or you might even see them together. In fact, actually, those coconut octopus, when he gets older, would eat these gobies. So they're on borrowed time. They really are. Are you anyone here a Nudibranch fan? Lembe is.
I am.
Yeah. Lembe is rammed full of Nudibranchs. Okay, you're literally swiping them away from yourself because there's so many there and so many different varieties. Of course, this guy is really easy to spot because he's bright and he's pink. Can you see two Nudibranchs though?
Can.
Yeah. So you can see this guy here, this orange guy is laying the eggs, this orange row down here, and you can see this little flabellina that's eating the eggs as the other one lays them. So it's like got an instant meal for it. So you can see this behavior going on all over the place. It's really, as I said, really interesting to see. How about Shaun the Sheep? Anyone seen Shaun the Sheep? Yeah, look amazing. They are tiny. So if you do come, an accessory that I would suggest, especially if you're a non-photographer, is a magnifying glass. Bring the magnifying glass because, look, you can see that's grains of sand down there. So you can imagine how big he is. I'm going to guess that the grains of sand about 4-5 millimeters in size. You can see him moving around, but if you get magnifying glass on it, you'll see the detail in it. And these are things that quite often non-photographers miss. But if you come away on a photography trip, you're with us photographers and we'll start pointing them out to you and showing you all these weird and wonderful things. As I said, there are Nudibranchs of all types, all sizes, and all colours there for you to look at. It's an absolute delight to see these things. But it isn't just the nudibranchs. You know, I haven't really had chance in this time to talk about all the other critters, but there are so many critters there. Okay, so we've got pufferfish, but I said we've got the striped catfish here. We've got harlequin shrimp. We've got how about mouth brooding fish? So you can see on the right hand side here, we've got fish that keep their eggs in their mouths. You'll see quite a lot of those. You know, and it's not necessarily a season for them. They do it all year round. We can got different kinds of cuttlefish. We've got mantis shrimp. We've got other kinds of shrimp. We've got anglerfish. We've got loads of different kinds of things there to kind of you guys to entertain you and keep you excited. And just to kind of show you, not that you necessarily saw from the pictures of the frogfish, this is kind of how you find them and kind of what they look like. They're generally hiding within some of the debris. This is an old mooring line that's been left on the seabed, and you kind of go and look along it, and this is where you see these amazing critters. They're not all amazing critters, so I might actually scare a few people off here. You get stuff like this. Bobbit worms. Has anyone seen a bobbit worm? Generally only see them at night, but they're very interesting, let's put it that way. Has anyone seen Tremors, the film Tremors? They remind me of that. They come and kind of sit above, you know, just with their heads here, sitting above the sand, and they kind of wait. They've got sensors, these tentacles here, and they wait for a fish to come over the top. And when they do, they leap up and grab the fish and pull it up under, and you'll never see that fish again. They're quite incredible things. And talking about nighttime, there is a possibility, and I need to talk to Ben about this and Steve that runs Dive into Lembe, that we can do some blackwater bonfire dives. Hopefully, maybe. If anyone's not done that, in essence, what you do is you set up really bright lights underwater, and it's late at night. So we're talking as the sun's gone down for a long time, maybe 9, 10 o'clock, even 2 in the morning sometimes. The later, probably the better. And you set it up over deep water, and you leave that in for a while, and you wait to see what comes up. And sometimes you have this, like this triggerfish. I don't know what species that is. That's about 1 centimetre long. Or you have another thing like this. So this is a peacock flounder, probably again, only about 1 centimetre long. And it's a juvenile stage, the sort of thing that you would never normally see on a dive because it's hidden away and it's coming up to find the lights. It thinks the lights are is the moon, so it's attracted for those lights there. How about this? We think this is a cleaner shrimp of some sort, okay? Free swimming within the water column, floating about. I did my first blackwater dives, I said, on my last trip out there in 2020. And I was blown away at what you could see and what's in the water column. Squid is a given, you'll see hundreds of squid, but you see all these other creatures just sitting there waiting for you to discover them. Hopefully, I've whizzed through quite a lot of that because I know there's probably going to be loads of questions, but hopefully that's given you a taste of what this is. The thing to take away from this more than anything else is we've got 2 centres. So the diving over on the west coast is very much blue water, wide angle kind of photography, or even diving. And then when you go to Lembe, it's a lot more looking at the smaller things. Although there is lots of vast, large seascapes and bigger corals to look at as well. So hopefully that's helped you out. There's my email address if you need it, guys. I will try and put that email address in a chat somewhere. By all means, you can email me if you've got any questions. If you suddenly wake up tomorrow morning desperate to know about a certain critter or something, email me here, and I'll kind of try and help you answer those. Oh, something I didn't talk about. Sorry, I thought it was something I didn't talk about. Is how can I help you? So my job here is as a visiting photo pro. So Ben is kind of the permanent photo pro in this area. So he knows the critters much better than I do. But my help is to kind of help to kind of hold your hand a little bit with your photography, whether you're already a very confident photographer, or just very new at it, you might just even have a GoPro. I'm there to kind of hold your hand a little bit and answer any questions that you might have throughout your stay. What we will try and do is very much a relaxed atmosphere. At Tasik Ria, we're in a boat for most of the day, and in that environment, it's kind of very much a one-to-one environment where we'll talk and have some fun. And if you've got questions about photography, or even if you're not a photographer, you've got questions about habitat or how creatures, you know, the behaviour, we can answer them there. And then generally in the evening, both at Tasik and at Lembe, we tend to do image reviews where we all get together and have a look at the images that have been taken throughout the day and kind of talk about those critters, the habitats, and maybe how you can improve your pictures for the next day when you go in. And then over at Lembe, what I'm going to do, because it's much easier to do it there, I'm going to do a few more formal kind of classes about lighting, exposure, different techniques we might want to do, and those are completely and utterly voluntary to attend. Okay, I'll put a schedule of talks up together before you come along, and you can literally tick or cross to any that you want to attend or don't want to attend. That, I think, is it. Do you think I've covered everything, Phil? I think I have.
That's fantastic.
There's a little bit of static on the line, so I don't know what that is.
Yeah, there's a little bit of interference. Apologies if you're picking that up as well.
I'm going to mute my microphone in case it's me.
Okay. Yes, it is you. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe not. Well, I'm sorry about that, guys. With a little bit of static. Thank you very much, Saeed, for that. That's absolutely fascinating.
I think it could be Ben. Ben, can you mute very quickly?
Yep.
Just see if it's you.
How's that? Yeah, there we go. There we go. So we won't leave you permanently on mute, Ben. But when we have questions for you, then come off mute, and hopefully we won't have that feedback. Saeed, that was absolutely fascinating. Thank you very much for that. Really, really interesting presentation, and for all you on the talk, I hope that gives you a really good flavour for the style of diving in both Bunaken and Lembe, and what you'll be experiencing on the trip from a diving point of view. Just before we go over to questions, I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes sharing my screen again, to give you a little bit more detail on the two resorts we're staying at, just to cover the land-based side of things. So if I share my screen again, okay, we've done that, haven't we? Let's try and go to the next slide. All right, there we go. So this is Tasik Ria. Saeed's already sort of explained the location. So we're on the North Sulawesi coast here. We're about 30 or 40 minutes from Manado Airport, so it's pretty convenient, well, very convenient to reach for a dive resort, but surrounded by nature, surrounded by jungle. It's a really, really beautiful spot. You can see the resort itself has got the pool, and it's got lovely gardens as well. It's really, as Saeed said, a very well established dive resort and a super dive resort. We've used it for years and years, and we love the team there. They always look after our guests very, very well. They've got two types of rooms. So the standard rooms there on which this trip is based are called the pool view rooms. So they're in a little sort of little blocks. So here are the pool view rooms, and here's the inside of the pool view rooms. For anybody that wants to upgrade, they also have sea view suites and cottages. So these are the sea view suites. They're a little bit grander inside. So this is one of the grandest ones, but it gives you a flavour of those larger suites if you want to upgrade. Of course, it's a dive resort, so it's got an on-site dive centre called Tasik Divers, PADI 5-star. It's got all the facilities that you will need as divers and snorkelers and photographers. It's got its own jetty, as you've seen from the pictures. They've got a couple of larger boats out there. So this is the Voyager and the Aquatica, which are their larger boats. We also have a smaller boat. They've got a speedboat that takes about 8 people and is called Anne Marie. So there's a variety of different boats to use, and this is one of their boats sort of in setting on the dive site. So we can all imagine ourselves diving into that water and having a wonderful time. So that's a little bit on Tasik Ria. Then we move to dive into Lembe. Saeed's already mentioned about the location. I've been to this resort. I absolutely love it. And the location there is really superb. Much quieter up at that end of the strait, in addition to the water clarity and the other aspects that Saeed mentioned. The 2 dive sites here, this is an aerial view of the resort. The dive site to the left, or as I'm looking at the screen, is actually a nice, it's sort of coral and rubble dive. To the right is a dive site called Hairball, which is one of the pure, or quite a famous dive site actually, which is pure black sand, but with critters all over it. The resort is run by, owned by Stephen Miranda. Steve's an English chap, a very characterful chap. You will love him, and Miranda is Dutch, I believe. Is that right, Saeed? Is she Dutch?
Hold a sec. Yes. I want to say yes.
Yeah, let's say yes.
Myself as soon as I say it.
Yeah. They're absolutely lovely couple. Steve is a very accomplished photographer in his own right, and they've created the resort themselves in order to cater very well for photographers. The resort is set around this lovely pool. They've got 2 types of room. So again, their standard rooms on which this trip is based are called longhouse rooms, and they're in this little block of rooms here. Very nice rooms, very spacious, nice little balcony as well. Again, for people that might want to upgrade, they've got some bungalows as well. They've got these couple of detached bungalows, and they've got semi-detached bungalows as well. These are similar style, very nice inside, 4-poster beds. The very best thing about these bungalows is the onsen spa that you've got on the balcony. This is heated to about, I think it's 36 degrees or something like that. And when you come back from your diving, it will all be ready for you just to jump in there and just relax. And it is a wonderful end to the day. Really real treat at the end of the trip.
You can sit there like I did and actually watch dolphins swim by. It's quite incredible. It's quite amazing.
Yeah. I think I did it every day. I love them. They're only in the bungalows. I don't think you get them in the longhouse rooms.
No, you don't.
For those looking to upgrade, it's worth it for those spas alone. They've got a few dive boats. Again, they're relatively small boats, but they're quick boats, and the dive sites are all very close. So in Lembe, you've not got far to go between the dive sites, and as Saeed mentioned, you can come back between the dives. It's got the largest, the most spacious camera room and camera setup in Lembe, which is very much Steve's vision, because he wants the resort to be the best for photographers. Super rinse tanks, really nice, well-organized dive center. And they've got a very nice social area. So they've got a restaurant, bar, lounge area, lots of fish ID books, and really a nice place between your dives and after your dives to relax, enjoy each other's company, and enjoy Saeed's presentations. And there we go. I had to throw in a bintang as well, because that's what you do at the end of a day's diving in Indonesia, isn't it? So that's a little bit about the resorts. Let's just give you some details on the trip as well. In a moment, I will be launching a poll. In fact, let's do it now, which I think is a very simple, if you'd like, travel plan, which is more details on this trip, but I'll give you the quick summary now. So the trip starts on the 24th of June. So that's the first day in Bunaken itself. Saeed will be in residence for 7 nights at Tasik Ria and 7 nights in dive into Lembe. It's done on a flexible basis, so it's not absolutely necessary to come for the whole of that period if you can't do 14 nights. So if you wanted to do 40 nights, it's from 2,065 per person. But if you did 5 nights at each resort, that's 1,475 per person. Or if you wanted to do 5 or 6, or you can do adaptations of that as fits what you're looking to do. But Saeed will be there for 14 nights, 7 nights at each resort. Those trip prices include the resort accommodation, 2 dives a day in each location. In Lembe, you've got shore diving as well on the house reef we saw there. In both locations, they do 3rd dives for a small local supplement. Your tanks and weights, your airport transfers, all your meals, Saeed's expertise, as he mentioned, and all the photography advice that comes with that. It's on a twin share basis, of course, but you can do single supplements. I scribbled them down somewhere. So if you did the full length of the trip, then the single supplement is very reasonable. It's only 390 quid for the whole 2 weeks. And obviously, if you do the 11-day trip, then it's less than that, about 320 quid for the 11-day, 10-night trip. That doesn't include the flights. We are happy to help you with flights, or we can leave you to book your own flights. Such is the demand for Southeast Asia. Now it's opened again. Slightly frustratingly, the most direct flights are essentially full, especially on the return. So, but we've got ways to work around that with overnights or going via Jakarta. So we can help you with all of that to make sure you can get there when you need to and get back as well.
Phil, can I just butt in really quickly?
Yeah, of course.
But what I would say is, if you haven't been to this area, an overnight somewhere on the way, like Singapore, is incredible. If you haven't been to Singapore before, if you're going through it, stop for a couple of days. It's beautiful. It's an amazing city. It's well worth it.
Yeah, it certainly is. I got in quite a lot of trouble. I've just come back from Thailand with my family, and I bigged up the waterfall that's at the airport, which is absolutely incredible. They've got a waterfall at the airport, but stupidly I misremembered that the waterfall is actually outside the other side of immigration.
Oh, yeah.
And we were only in transit, so I got in a lot of trouble for that. But that's just one of the many delights of Singapore.
I'll send you a photo of it if you want, Phil.
Oh, thanks. Cheers. That will help a great deal.
Yeah.
Right. So that's that hopefully gives you a little bit of flavour of the trip itself and the resorts. And we've got a few questions coming in already. So let me just go and have a look at those questions now. Please, for anybody else, please start typing your questions and we will get through as many as we can. So first question, you touched on it, Saeed, is can you explain muck diving? Ben, you're the expert muck diver. How would you explain muck diving? And remember to unmute yourself.
Right. Okay. Yeah. As we all know that muck diving is very, very different. Yeah. And as Shahid explained just on his slideshow that there is lots of garbage around, a bottle or a plastic. It's actually it's a conflict, but I don't know, sometimes the behavior of the animal is changed. They would like to stay in the plastic or in the bottle, which is start liking to see something like that. And the visibility in Lembe is not as good as in other places like in Bunaken, but that's how muck diving is. Yeah. So in Lembe, there is so many variety of things that we can see in different places, and also actually the diving in couple sites was a good visibility in Lembe site, but in mainland mostly is like more into visibility like 5 to 10 meters. But we still enjoy diving muck site because of the lots of things to see. Yeah. So that's muck site is in Lembe.
Super. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We lost the audio with Ben a little bit there. Can you just mute yourself again quickly, Ben? I think your headphones are playing up.
Okay, can you now?
I think the connections are.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a
Not
bit.
too good. Pop yourself on mute for now, and we will come back to you.
All right.
Leslie, sorry, go on, Saeed.
I was going to say, let me just bullet point what Ben was trying to say. What I think muck diving is very much like diving in and just seeing what you can find amongst all of the different things.
A treasure hunt.
Treasure hunt. So it's about looking in the bommies, looking in the soft coral, not necessarily having a reef edge to follow. It's about looking in the sand, looking above you, looking at a mooring line, finding a discarded bottle, looking in that. It is, I think you've knocked the nail on the head. It's a treasure hunt.
Yeah, and Leslie, I would say that muck diving is something you've got to try if you've not tried it, because it's so addictive and so fascinating.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, on to the next question. Arlene says, I'm not a photographer. Would I still be able to enjoy the trip? I would say certainly yes. What would you say, Saeed?
The non-photographers that have joined us in the past have had a whale of a time, because they're like, do you know what? You guys go so slowly, and you find all of these weird things that I would have never have found normally. They've actually started joining photography trips in the future, because it says a completely different way of diving that they've never seen before. There's none of this elitist stuff going, oh, get out of my way, I'm a photographer. That doesn't happen, okay? They kind of join us along, and they kind of see all the wonderful and marvelous things that we see, or more. And that's what I'm saying, even snorkelers will have a whale of a time on this trip.
Yeah, super. Thanks, Saeed. Amy, hello, Amy. She says, is this a one-off trip, or are future trips of a similar format planned? So, Amy, at the moment, this is a one-off trip, but we would certainly very much like to work with Saeed in the future. I don't know how he feels about us.
We'll see.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's the only trip on the books at the moment. But we will see.
Who knows what the future holds?
Yeah, exactly.
So join this one, Amy, and then if you like it, then if there are others.
This has been 3 years in the making, this trip. So.
Bjorn, hello, Bjorn. He says, please explain the flight options from London to Manado. The simplest route, the most direct route, is to fly Singapore Airlines. You go London Heathrow, connect for a couple of hours in Singapore, and then it's a direct flight onto Manado. That works fine on the way out. On the way back, the Singapore Heathrow flight on the evening that connects very well is unfortunately full because of the demand for going to Indonesia and Southeast Asia. So as you mentioned, we can do an overnight, or we can reroute via Jakarta and come back from there. The alternative route, which is a little bit cheaper, is to fly to Jakarta in the first place. Maybe say leaving on the evening of the 22nd of June, a quick overnight at the airport hotel in Jakarta when you arrive, and then the following morning flying up to Manado from there. So that works very well as well. So they're the main routes to get there and get back. Matthew says you can go to the Singapore airport waterfall without going through customs on the shuttle train between terminals.
Oh, that's true.
Damn.
Yeah, that is true. I forgot about that.
I wish I'd spoken.
You've got to catch it. You've got to watch it
for my trip. Never mind. Thank you for the advice.
You're not going to pass that on, are you, to family?
No, I'm not. No, I'm in enough trouble. Charlie says, do you recommend PLBs in this area? I'm not sure what a PLB is. What's a PLB?
Does it mean personal locator beacon? I think he means.
Okay.
I would always, the Bunaken side, I would always recommend a SMB, a DSMB. But no, as far as I know, no one's been lost in that area. I think there are currents that move back and forth along the reef. But so far, I don't think there's been any instance. So I don't think you necessarily need one. But of course, if you've got one, although I don't know if they work in that area. Do you know what, Charlie? I'm gonna look to see if PLBs, if it's a personal locator beacon you're on about, I'm going to see if they work in there. Because they use UHF, don't they, I think. So that's a question I don't know 100% for, but I don't think you need one. I've never used one in all the time being there.
There's not
none of my guests have either.
Super. So Tony, who's already signed up, hi there, Tony, asked what currency is used in the resort for extra dives and beers. So the currency is the rupiah, and there are many thousands to the pound. But I mean, usually you would put these on your hotel bill. Ben, in dive into Lembe, what currencies do you accept? I assume US dollars and euros.
US dollar and euro.
So they're fine. But Tony, generally, if you're buying from the resort, then you can just put it on a tab on your room and pay it at the end on your card. Dave Green,
I'm going to jump in again as well. Sorry, I keep interrupting you. There will be chance to do little trips to markets and things, especially at Tasik. There's a great little market literally right next door that we'll go to at some point. Brilliant, lovely local market. So you might want some local currency for that. We'll get some chicken soup there, buy some vegetables, take photographs of people, do some stuff there. There will be chances to do some of that stuff from Lembe as well. So you might want a small amount of local currency.
Yeah, perfect. David Greener says, a fantastic session. These are great. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, David. We enjoy putting them together. And then he says, when is it possible to see orcas? So we might need to look into that, unless, Ben, you happen to know when they see orcas in Bunaken. I do not know.
It depends. In Bunaken, it's not all around in a year, but it depends.
Okay, so they can come and go a bit as they please.
It's not as common as seeing dolphins, but they're seen regularly.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I didn't know you got them there actually. That would be extraordinary to see. And one last question from Leslie. Ben, if you don't mind muting it, perfect, thank you. Leslie asked, how large is the group diving? So this is a group trip. So, you know, hopefully we'll have sort of 10, 12 people on the group itself. But in terms of that, how that works in the water, Saeed, what are you planning for how it works in practice when you're in the water?
Generally between 2 and 4 in the water. It wouldn't be any more than that together. You, of course, sometimes bunch up a little bit and then go away. But because of the area that you always want to dive with a guide, but the guides aren't hurrying you along. Basically, the guides are looking for different critters that you might be seeing.
They're wildlife spotters.
Yeah, they are. It's a very different. My first ever dive, I'm going to tell you a story now. Are we all comfortable? I remember my first dives in Egypt. And everyone's done these dives where you go in off a day boat, you jump in and the guide says, this is what we're doing. And the guide swims off at 1,000,000 miles an hour. You're trying to swim after him. You're new to diving. You go through a 12-litre cylinder in about 20 minutes and you're panicking that you've run out of air. This doesn't happen here. It doesn't happen at all. So you jump in and you kind of poke around and the guide might rattle something and call you over and you see something, might show it to the other group as well. They try and keep the groups apart, but occasionally they come together, okay? But not all the time. And we're kind of, I said, groups of two, 3s and 4s, so you won't feel crowded. The really cool thing about Lembe is they have a pretty rubber stamped law that you can't have over a certain amount of divers per site. I think it's 15. Ben, can you nod? Is that the right number? Per site? Maximum divers? Yeah. So it's 15 divers per site. So if another resort's boat is there, we go on to the next site. So you don't see other people. It's such a cool way of doing it that I wish other places in the world did.
Yeah, super. Brilliant. All right, I think that's all the questions we've got at the moment. I hope everybody found that interesting. Obviously, we'd love to welcome you all on the trip. We've got limited numbers, so we can't welcome everybody. But if you're interested, please do get in touch. If you've not answered the poll, hopefully you got that. Then you can request a travel plan. As Saeed has said, he's happy to answer questions, and you're very, very welcome to email me as well. So you can contact me at sales@diveworldwide.com or info@regaldive.co.uk, and then myself or one of the team will be happy to answer your questions. And hopefully we will be welcoming some of you on the trip. I do actually just have one more slide just to mention before we go that we have another talk lined up. Here we go. Can we go to that one? So anybody that likes interested in the Galapagos, then please join us again on the 17th of May at 7 p.m. again, where we're going to the Galapagos, and we've got an expert on whale sharks from the Galapagos, Sophie Green, who is going to be talking about the extraordinary giant whale sharks that we get there.
Nice.
So that's a wrap from us. Saeed, thank you very, very much for the presentation. That was absolutely fascinating. Ben, thank you so much for joining us in the middle of the night, and we will let you go back to sleep now and get ready for your first guests on Friday. To everybody else, thank you very much for joining us. I hope that was interesting, and we will hopefully see you all soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have lovely evenings. Bye-bye.